speaking of good teammates who move their contracts around in a very, it's a woozy, it's a wazy type of way. So we'll move right on over to Ryan Tannehill, restructuring his contract for $15 million off the books for Julio Jones to just come in and swoop it up.
There you
And
go.
hey, that's, now there's an instance where contract negotiations can reflect someone as a good teammate
Yep.
or a bad teammate. I mean, you have Ryan Tannehill, and I won't even say bad teammate in this instance because I don't think any guy should ever have to restructure his deal to make some things work. I mean, I think that's the organization. Right. That's their challenge. But a guy should never have to restructure his deal. But when you guys have guys that are willing to restructure their deals, man, does it make your team be able to do so much more? And I think you're seeing that become more and more of a thing in the NFL, especially with Ryan Tannehill and Julio Jones here, because now this opens up things for Julio Jones to come in and be on the team. And I heard if Julio Jones wanted to restructure his contract a little bit, then that would open up some possibilities even further for the already menacing Titans. And it's pretty menacing, if I will say that.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, dude, that you got to take Julio, right? You got to do what you got to do to get him. If you got to move some
Yep.
money around, you got to do it. Now, here's the thing, right? I think you got to look at this a little bit differently, though. I think that some people would want to look at this and say this is a selfless move by Tannehill, right? And sure, it very well may be. It very well may be. However, if I'm being totally honest, this is also a really smart move by Tannehill
Very
and
selfish
for
as well.
himself. It could be selfish in the sense that sure, Ryan Tannehill is going to take $15 million like off right of his
Yep.
deal and or save them 15 million.
Yeah,
I'm sure
move
there's
it
a bunch of
around.
accounting going on there. He's probably going to get that money anyway. But think about it. I'm sure Ryan Tannehill has bonuses that having Julio Jones on his team makes it more likely that he will hit, like performance
Yeah.
bonuses for yards and touchdowns and things like that. So that's already helping him get that money back. Then I'm sure that Ryan Tannehill's thinking Julio Jones gives us a chance to be more successful, which could get me a contract extension later in my career. That also is a situation that makes a lot of sense. So, once again, I don't think a lot of people make it to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and especially the agent of a starting quarterback in the NFL, without really being able to look at things from more of like a 30,000-foot view, right? And take things in stride and make some decisions that on the surface may seem selfless, but
Yes.
at the same time, I think I think that might be Tannehill doing the right thing. And once again, this is where the media comes into play. People don't always think about that aspect, but who is the person that gets that story out necessarily, right? Is Tannehill's agent like calling that reporter at ESPN and being like, "Hey, my client is such a good dude. He's such a great guy that he took this pay cut. Don't look into the math too much because it's not actually a pay cut, but just take my word for it. My guy is the best. It's such a good pay cut. You get that out in the ecosystem, and now maybe Tannehill gets some more endorsements because people think he's such a great guy. And I'm not saying he's not, but I think that this is one of those things where there could be a little more going on underneath the surface.
Yes. Yeah. I I would agree. And sometimes you got to be a little selfish to be selfless. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So there's a whole kind of catch 22 there in that whole dynamic. So I always tell people, be selfish so you can be selfless, um but there is some things, kind of going on behind the scenes, different things like that.